The Lib Dems are positioning themselves as the Remain party. Are you concerned about a resurgent Liberal Democratic Party taking Remain votes away from Labour?
In the short term, some of that might happen indeed, and it's possible. But they won't get enough to get many seats in Parliament. And again, it's one of those things like the SDP. In my youth, they for a time were quite successful and then faded away. I think the same will happen with that vote as well. But in the end, it's a choice between whether you want a democratic socialist or social democratic world or a free market neoliberal world. And the Liberal Democrats are clearly on that side of the fence. They are clearly for globalisation, free markets, privatisation and so on. And when I think those Labour supporters or Labour members have realised that, they'll come back to Labour as the genuine party of democratic socialism, social democracy, and representing the interests of working class people.
Is Labour facing a really critical position in terms of the breakdown in the alliance between its traditional working class vote and its middle class supporters?
Well, it depends. I think it's there are divisions between middle class voters and between working class voters. I mean, I come from an academic background. I'm should be part of this middle class group drifting to the Liberal Democrats. The last thing I should ever do. But I'm a lifelong dedicated socialist, and I intend to remain so. And many people are like me too. And equally, there are many working class people who are historically conservative and tend not to be sympathetic to Labour, and that will continue as well. But I think we can still unite the party around a view of the world which is kind, egalitarian, fair to everybody, with people having a sense of self-worth, a society, a government that looks after people rather than one that just says you're on your own, mate, and get used to it.
Turning now to commercial assets, the takeover bid for Unilever from Kraft Heinz seems to have stalled for the time being. What's Labour's current position on foreign takeovers of commercial assets?
Well, I'm not sure what the leadership's position is, if they said anything specific, but I think we must all be concerned about global corporations gathering, soaking up, buying up other enormous corporations. We're looking towards what the revolutionaries used to call monopoly capitalism. And when these organisations become so large that they are beyond the power of governments to control, they have no effective competition, I think that's very worrying. And even those people who believe in capitalism want to see some competition, not monopoly.
And turning now to the NHS, what would Labour do if it were in government to solve the NHS crisis?
Well, what we have to do as a party is actually make people aware that the health service is massively underfunded. We spend 2 to 3% less of our GDP on health compared with other developed countries, and that's equivalent to between 40 and 50 billion pounds a year. I think we've got to raise taxes on the rich, or collect the taxes that they don't pay and put that into the health service. The health service is underfunded, has to be properly funded, and it can work brilliantly if it does. It works miracles on a pittance at the moment. It's amazing it survives at all the way it's funded, but I think we could look forward to a brilliant health service, provided Labour wins and starts to raise spending as it should do.